you ready to make an amazing sauce and learn how to cook pasta the Italian way? I am. Let's go.
Good. You ready to cook?
Yes.
Good.
Let's cook.
So there are many different types of sauces. Today we're going to be doing two of the basic types, and that's olive oil based or butter and cream based. Okay.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
So while there are many different types of sauces, the most beloved sauce of all is pasta al pomodoro, of course. Pasta with tomato sauce.
I always think of simplicity when I hear pasta pomodoro.
Well, it is. It's extremely simple, and that's why it's so good. But you need to use the right ingredients. So we're using good quality extra virgin olive oil. Make sure it's extra virgin. We're using fresh garlic and nice, firm and closed head of garlic. We're using plum tomatoes. These are fresh, but we're using canned San Marzano. Kosher salt, pepper, red pepper flakes if you like a little kick, and some fragrant fresh basil.
Oh my God, this basil, just having this basil as part of the ingredient, it's lighting up the whole room with its fragrance. It's so good.
Well, that's what makes this dish so good. It's very fresh, it's very quick to make, and it's delicious. It's a sun-ripened dish.
And I think cooking is also very visual, and just having these reds, really rich reds and greens, is gonna make the dish beautiful.
So the first thing we need to do is process our tomatoes. Now in Italy, I would use this, which is called a food mill.
For someone who doesn't cook, that looks pretty scary.
Okay, so I'll teach you how to do it by chopping by hand, okay?
Okay, great.
So these are our peeled plum tomatoes, and this is San Marzano variety. And basically, you just want to chop them up. If you find a little stem, take that out, and then just chop and get them to a pretty fine consistency.
All right, so I'm gonna chop these up. So these are so beautiful. So it's okay to get them in the can?
Yes, it is. They're just peeled version of the plum tomato.
Is this how I should cut them?
No, that's not how. Let me show
Okay.
you. For novices, you just hold the end of your knife up and down because you don't want to cut your fingers.
Oh, okay.
There
Let
you
me
go.
try that. So, oh,
That's perfect.
It looks very
Okay,
professional.
so if you could chop all those tomatoes
Okay.
and put them in that bowl, I'm going to check on my water.
Okay,
So
great.
I've got my pasta water boiling. Wow, that's great. So it's a vigorous boil, and that's what you want.
It always takes me forever to boil water. How long should I pre-plan?
Well,
and
the
just
first
start
thing is
everything?
put a lid on it.
Ah, okay.
The first rule of making pasta is you have to cook it in abundant water. The pasta has to be able to swim in the water. If you overcrowd it, it's going to stick together and it's going to get gummy, and you don't want that. So make sure you use a lot of water. It's usually about 5 quarts for every pound of pasta, and this is a pound of pasta. The second rule of thumb is when it comes to a really rolling boil, you want to salt the water. Don't salt the water before it boils, or it'll never boil.
See, that's a very important point because I always put my salt in before I even turn on the stove.
And it takes
So
20 minutes
you're
to
saying
boil.
let the water come to a roaring boil, then put salt in.
Then salt the water.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Third rule is use a lot. In Italian we say QB, quanto basta. It means enough. You use enough salt. So most people will do this.
Yes,
and
that's what I
it.
do.
Well, then your pasta is going to taste like nothing because you have to flavor your pasta. So you're going to put in a nice big handful.
You're gonna put all that salt in?
I'm going to put in a little bit more, and you're going to see that it's not a lot of salt.
Oh my gosh.
The pasta water should taste like seawater. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's a
So
good trick.
how are the tomatoes coming?
How do they
good,
look?
perfect. I would
They're
chop them
good?
just a little bit finer.
Okay. So make it look like a
And you can
puree.
even do a little, yeah.
Okay.
Great. But as fine as you like them, everything to your taste. Okay,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Now,
I'm
how
going
should I
to-
transfer them over? Is there
How
a
should you
trick?
transfer them
Should
over?
I take the block over and?
Well, this is what I would do. You just put them in your bowl.
Ah. Okay.
And that's an
That looks
way to do
easy.
it.
Let me try
Just be
that.
careful, don't cut yourself. Okay,
This is totally easy. by
so
the
we're
way.
going to start our sauce, but we're going to wait. Our pasta water is boiling. We've got it salted. It's a very quick sauce, so it's going to cook in the time it takes to cook the pasta. I'm going to put my olive oil in my pan already and get it started. We're heating it over about a medium flame, and I'm using about 4 tablespoons of oil. Look how beautiful that oil is. Okay, great. Okay, now we need to smash our garlic,
Okay, great.
and you just take the side of your knife and you bang it. and then you peel it.
that's it?
It'll come off very easily. So now I'm going to add my pasta to the boiling water. And the next rule of thumb to cooking pasta is once the water returns to a boil after you salt it, this is very important, Zuzi.
Okay.
The pasta should not sit in water that's not doing anything. It should be boiling. Then you put it in, and then you give it a nice stir.
So after you salt it, the water needs to come to a boil again. Then you put the pasta in.
Then you put all the pasta in at once. You don't do it in little dribbles. You put it all in at once. And as soon as it's in the water, you want to stir it up to separate it. That's important so it doesn't stick together. And then you bring it back to a boil as fast as possible. And this is going to come to a boil pretty quickly.
Oh, that's great.
And if not, just put a lid on it for a minute and then cook it without the lid. So that's cooking now. So let's
Okay.
get the sauces started. Are you ready with the garlic? We're going to
Yes.
put our garlic in our oil.
So you put the garlic in whole just like that?
I put the garlic in a whole because I like a milder garlic flavor. And if you chop garlic, the garlic flavor is really strong because you multiply the surface area that hits the hot heat.
That makes
it's the hot oil that
sense.
draws out all the flavor from
So
garlic.
minced garlic is much, much stronger than a whole clove that's just slightly smashed like we just did.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great.
So you can choose, but in Italy we like everything to be in balance. We don't like really strong flavors. We like everything to be balanced.
So we're keeping the sauce. We're keeping the plum tomatoes
We're
and then
keeping
also
and
the
their
sauce,
juices.
the
Keep their juices. Let's
Okay.
get our. I've got salt here. Let's get our pepper. Let's get everything ready. And could you pinch off about 8 basil leaves
Oh,
for
yes.
me, please? And then we'll tear those into pieces.
Okay, great.
So our garlic is sizzling a little bit. I'm not going to burn the garlic, so that's why I'm letting it sizzle at a medium temperature, because if garlic burns, it permeates your whole dish with a really rancid kind of bitter flavor. You don't want that because you'll never be able to repair it. So just let the garlic sizzle a little bit, and that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm now going to add a pinch of red pepper flakes, hot pepper flakes.
So I'm just gonna break these with my hand.
Well, no, do like this. This is what we do. Just do it over the pan and just throw them in. Okay?
You see, I think when you're first learning how to cook, you're afraid to just be natural with the food, and I always feel like I need to follow the rules very specifically, but I'm learning here that you can just be casual with it. And
But
as
you
long
should be
as
natural.
You know
Italian
the actual
cooking
rules.
is natural cooking. Tear those up, just big pieces. Big pieces. This is a natural pasta. Okay, great.
Oh, that
now I'm
smells
going to
so
add
good.
the tomatoes, but I'm going to take the skillet off the heat to do
These
this.
tomatoes?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Now, very close. Put it very close, otherwise they'll splatter. Okay. Now add all the juices.
Look at that color already. This vibrant, vibrant red with a hint of the green from the basil.
there's sun-
So
it's sun-
delicious.
Susie, could you stir the pasta just a little bit, just make sure?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're just going to saute our pasta, simmer it a little bit. I'm going to add salt, kosher salt to taste, and we'll add that, and then we'll taste it later to make sure we got it right.
So this sauce is just tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, basil, salt, pepper.
That's it.
And a little chili if you like some kick.
That's it. It's very natural.
so
very natural.
easy.
So we didn't time our pasta, but let's talk about the doneness of pasta. We're going to taste our pasta about 2 to 3 minutes before the end of the cooking time that the package says, because the package,
So this just says 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Well, we're going to taste it after 6 or 7 minutes, because we like our pasta al dente, which means cooked but firm to the bite. We like to chew our pasta. That's not done yet, I can tell already. Okay, but by that time our sauce will be done. And our sauce is simmering. You just let it simmer away. And this sauce cooks in the time it takes to cook the pasta. So if you start the sauce and then put your pasta in the boiling water, by the time the pasta's cooked, you're ready to put it into the sauce.
So this amazing meal you can make in 15 minutes.
15 minutes max, yeah.
That's great. Perfect.
In Italy, we always finish our pasta dishes in the sauce. We always, what we call saltare, or toss the pasta in the sauce. And that makes the pasta absorb a little bit of the sauce. the gluten from the pasta thickens the sauce, and it becomes one. We consider a pasta dish not pasta with sauce. We consider it one. They become one. They're not two elements, they're one. If we're using cheese, we add it to the pasta when we toss it. So we need to get our cheese ready.
Okay, great. So here we usually add cheese after.
No. In Italy, we always toss it with, because that way the cheese melts in to the whole dish.
Sounds much better that way.
So Zuzi, I want you to grate some cheese, and we're going to use this. And this is Parmigiano Reggiano, and we know that because Parmigiano Reggiano should be written right on the rind, okay? And then you just grate it like that.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll check the spaghetti and see how we're doing here.
I like this box grater because it keeps things nice and neat inside the box versus the handheld grater. It gets a little messy sometimes.
1 more minute.
Okay.
We're almost ready.
I wish you could taste this. It smells so good. I'm sure it's going to taste amazing. Now, how much cheese should I grate?
For 4 people, about 3/4 of a cup.
Okay. Using fresh cheeses also brings such a great element to a meal. And it just goes back to what you were saying about, even though the ingredients are simple and few, make sure that they're good quality ingredients and that you know what you're putting in, and it's going to taste so fresh.
Exactly. You got it. Okay, so our pasta is done. I'm turning it off. These pasta pots are really great because you can also drain them and you save time running over to the sink. But we're going to reserve some of the pasta water. So I'm just going to put this into my sauce. And now we're going to toss it in the sauce. Okay? See what I'm doing, Susie?
So this is something that I'm not used to either. So you take the pasta once it's done and you mix it in, as opposed to putting the pasta in the plate and pouring some sauce over it.
Yes, exactly. We're going to toss it in the sauce. Let's move these out of the way.
Well, I imagine this way it absorbs all the flavors.
It absorbs some of the sauce, and it also thickens the sauce a little bit because of the starch content of the pasta. Okay, so for about a minute, until we've got that nice and coated. Okay, now we're going to take these garlic cloves out just because some people don't like them in the final dish, but I like to eat them. Okay, that's it. Now, I'd like you to add the cheese.
Okay.
Just put the cheese right in there.
Just about that much?
Mm-hmm. I'm turning the flame off. And now we're going to toss it one final time just to mix up the cheese well.
Oh,
mix it
looks
in
so
and
good.
let it melt. A little bit more cheese. Just
Okay.
a little bit. Add all of it. Terrific. Okay, I'm going to add a little olive oil to give it a nice gloss. And we're ready to plate.
Oh, excellent.
Are you hungry? Let's taste it. Zuzi, let me show you how to plate spaghetti or any kind of long pasta. You want to grab it with your tongs, hop, and turn it. So you make a nice little nest.
Looks beautiful. And I bet some fresh basil on top would look really beautiful on that plate.
And we're going to drizzle a little bit of oil on top, a little bit of cheese.
Beautiful.
And it's ready to go.
Can you believe it? We're not clueless when it comes to Italian anymore. We've just made our first pasta pomodoro.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's taste it.
I must taste this.
There you go. Buon appetito.
Grazie.
Smells great. How is it? Good? Perfetto.
Fantastico.
Okay.